I wanted to say that in the experience of the example you often use of the car rushing down the hill and applying the brakes or getting in the front of the car.
Momentum. Don't want to wait till you're at the bottom of the hill to stop the momentum. Better to do it just as it is leaving the crest of the hill.
I just wanted to point out that I figured out that my use of alcohol sort of is like turning off the lights and not realizing that I'm going down the hill is false. You know, I'm going to crash. So learning how to drive the car, put on the brakes, and turn it around is important.
Let us give you something here that we think will be helpful. Beating up on yourself about any behavior that you have chosen, or even any behavior that you are choosing, is counterproductive, because your inner being never beats up on you about behavior. Ever. So which feels better? I soothed myself a bit through alcohol, or in my weakness I chose something to numb myself out. Which felt better?
In my weakness I chose something to,
Well, now we're going to say it again, because that was the wrong answer.
All right.
Because what you chose was what society wants you to accept. We want you to feel it from the way your inner being feels about you. Your inner being is always giving you the benefit of the doubt. And when you don't, you cause a vibrational separation. It's too strong a word, but you go out of the receptive mode. So when you say, I don't want to depend on alcohol, but I do want to feel better, and my actions were well intended. And how do you know what you do want until you know what you don't want? Isn't there a time when a drink takes the edge off and makes you feel better? Do any of you say, I should never ever drink? I should never drink because it's wrong? Is it wrong? Is it in and of itself wrong?
Not in and of itself.
You started the conversation about momentum. So what is it that makes that seemingly a wrong choice?
It screws up my emotional guidance system horribly. I do not read my emotions or those around me when I use.
We don't disagree with that, but there's a deeper, more important conversation that we want to have first. And that is, what is it about having a drink? What is it that makes the momentum take it to an unwanted place? Because a drink in and of itself is not an unwanted place. That's stopping the momentum at the top of the hill, taking the edge off, feeling good. There's a big school of thought that says that if you are an alcoholic, that you can never take a drink. And we're not wanting to step on any of those toes, but we do want to explain that it's a subject of momentum. It's a subject of focus more than it is a subject of biological response to alcohol. And so there are a whole lot of people who have convinced themselves that they should never ever 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 do that or that or that or that or that. Let's say that they should never ever do that because it never goes well. It always leads to something not good. And we say, but in the meantime, what it's leading to that's not good is self-bashing. Can you find a way of loving yourself rather than beating up on yourself? Because there's a big difference between getting into the receptive mode where you are following impulses from broader perspective and using willpower to not do things. You see what we're getting at? So using willpower to not do things, to say, I will never do this again. This is the bane of my existence. This is what is causing all of my problems. We want to say, no, there was a problem before that. It was a problem of misalignment that this for a little while seemed to soothe, and your motive of being soothed is not the wrong motive. That's really all we're saying with this. It's not the wrong motive to want to like yourself, and it's not the wrong motive to want to feel good. That's not the wrong motive. There could not be a righter motive than to want to feel good. And so what goes wrong with so many who are wanting to avoid alcohol or addiction of any kind is that, okay, maybe it's a good idea to not take that stuff. Maybe it does cause momentum to take you where you don't want to be. But do not go into a place where you're beating up on yourself. If you have to use self-inflicted punishment in order to prevent yourself from doing things, you're not in the receptive mode. Ooh, That was such a good thing to be said. We don't think anyone is going to easily leave behind something that they find not good for them while they're in the mode of beating up on themselves. And the only reason that it works at all is because you live in a society that has trained you to respond to negative impulses instead of listening for your guidance of alignment. Oh, this is so central to everything that we know and teach.
It's very powerful.
We want to guide you to receptive mode, not to pushing against yourself when you're not. It's like the difference between helping someone get so tuned in that they would never ever harm another and putting them in jail and torturing them because they harmed another. It's equivalent to that. It's exactly the same conversation. We would so much rather that you feel so good that you only attract good rather than that you get out of whack and then beat up on yourself for being out of whack.
Awesome.
Make sense?
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So now what do you want to talk about?
Well, that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
That's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So next time you feel inclined to have a drink, you might say to yourself, what's this about? What condition am I trying to soothe? And could I soothe around the condition? But if you've waited until you're at the bottom of the hill, you're probably going to take a drink. But if you catch it, you know the analogy that we're talking about. Esther in San Francisco loved those hills and hated them at the same time, could not believe people were driving on them. So we said, imagine. Exactly. That's what she said. So we said, imagine being at the top of the hill. Take your brake off, push it a little just to see what'll happen. You know what's going to happen. So you come to your senses, you step out in front of it, you let it bump up against you. The car stops. You've stopped the problem. But you wouldn't want to be at the bottom of the hill stopping that momentum. So you just want to catch it earlier. And if you don't, no big deal. There is never a reason that is important enough or significant enough to get down on yourself. Because when you do, you've violated your most powerful intention of self-love. Really good.
Thank you.
Really good.
I've taken the suggestion from Abraham and from Esther when I go to sleep at night, before I go to sleep at night, when I'm settled in. I tell myself that I'm going to have a deep and restful sleep, but also I'm going to remember my dreams. I'm going to have wonderful dreams, but I'm going to remember them when I wake. And I've had this accumulation of this dream world more than I've had for a very long time.
Dreams are really good, aren't they? Because they are indications of your vibrational habit. Because what you think and how you feel is the reason for what manifests in your wake state. It's also the reason for what manifests in your dream state. But your dream state, you're often able to interpret it quicker because there's less resistance while you're sleeping. So how you're really feeling manifests faster in dream state than it does wake state. Does that make sense to you?
But everything is unexpected in those dreams. I'm always myself, but I'm myself in different times, different situations.
We want to emphasize something that you just said because it's what we just said. It might be unexpected in your wake state because you have beliefs that are in the way, but it's not unexpected in your dream state where you are less resistant or it couldn't happen. So when you awaken, rather than unexpected, why not call it something got through that ordinarily can't? Can you feel the benefit of that?
Yes.
Because the only difference between what's manifesting in your wake state and what's manifesting in your dream state is that you are more resistant in your wake state than you are in your dream state.
So what is the function of dreams for us?
That. To help you to realize that you are more than the see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it person that you recognize yourself to be.
So that there's another level of experience other than our daily lives.
We like those words. It's another perspective that if you understand what it is and understand how to evaluate it, can really serve you. If you're having a recurring dream that is unpleasant, there's something going on in your vibration that you want to change. If there's something wonderful that's happening in your dream state, don't change anything, and it will manifest in your wake state.
I'm interested in also the variance of it, the constant variance of it. It's never seems consistent. I never dream about one specific thing. I'm always in another reality. It's exciting, and that is a part of it, I suppose.
Here's what we'd like to say to you about that. Your point of attraction, whatever you've got going on, means that there is a vibrational basis that is the same in those dreams. It plays out in different ways because that's more interesting, but that's true in your wake state also. In your wake state, you often hold yourselves boringly on central points. You give yourself more freedom to be who you really are in your dream state. You feel less responsibility when you are asleep than when you are awake. When you're awake, you have more what we want to call unnatural perimeters around your ideas. You hold yourself back more. In your dream state, you allow yourself more free reign.
So dreams help us to unpin those things in our life.
Good words. They help you to feel who you really are and then expect it in your wake state.
That's good.
It's very good.
That's all I got.
It's really good.
Thank you so much.
It's really good. We have enjoyed this interaction more than these words can convey. And fortunately, we do not have to rely only on words, but vibration and emotion. It is exhilarating to us to know you. We want to reflect back to you the perfection of that which you are. And we like it when you tap into our feeling of eagerness and ecstasy about how you're doing and about what you are accomplishing. You are productive whether you acknowledge that you are or not, and you are of enormous value whether you know it or not. You are adding to all that is in ways that would take longer than you have left in this physical body to even explain to you. As we've been together in these hours, the thing that we have liked most about it is the movement in your vibration, the clarity that has been coming in bits and snatches. In other words, sometimes it feels like a stronger run to you than others. But the result of this conversation is that you are in a different vibrational place than you have ever been before. And we tell you because we know you, and because we can feel you, and because we are vibrationally oriented and we can know the vibration of that which you are, that you are on the brink of logical, obvious improvement in your life experience. And so it's good for you to hear these words and to get yourself into a little place of expectation about it. Things are always working out for you, but then again, things have always been working out for you. And sometimes when we tell you that things have always been working out for you, it makes you not believe that things now are always working out for you, because it hasn't always felt like things have always been working out for you, even though things have always been working out for you. But you have never been in such a receptive mode of allowing the things that are working out for you to be realized and recognized by you in the moment. And that's when life really begins to become fun. When you've deliberately launched rockets and you've deliberately moved your emotional state, you've deliberately chosen thoughts because they feel better. You've got your hands in your own clay. You are aware of wanting to feel good, and you are aware that you can feel better, and you are deliberately working at feeling better. We are very pleased about this interaction. Together we have taken thought beyond what it has been before. And now we are eager for your full-blown manifestations of the things that you want. The vortex is a wonderful thing, and it will always be there for you. But it's time for you to cash in your chips and experience some of the manifestations of what's been ripe for you for a while. And as a result of this conversation, there is a readiness that is new, and we are going to enjoy your discovery of your creative ability. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain in your vortex.